Hi, good morning everybody. My name is again, and I'll be giving a small summary of our presentation. First of all, our chosen company is the Cheesecake Company, the Cheesecake Factory, a business that you will already be familiar with. Our host nation is the US and our home nation is the UK. The presentation will be divided into 3 areas. Priya will be conducting a SWOT analysis, Pierre and I will be conducting a pestle analysis, and Giselle and Nafiu will be conducting the market entry strategy. I'll now pass it on to Pierre, who will give you a brief introduction about the Cheesecake Factory.
The Cheesecake Factory is one of the largest restaurant chain, and in Italy, as it's possible to see from the picture, was opened as a bakery by the Overton family in Los Angeles in 1972. And Cheesecake Factory is famous worldwide for its globally recognized cheesecake. Now we have 160 restaurants in the US. Cheesecake Factory right now just opened one restaurant based outside of the US in Dubai. So with the same philosophy, we try to bring Cheesecake Factory also in the UK. Now they're also projecting to open 53 new restaurants worldwide. And now Priya will explain what analysis about the company.
Thank you. Firstly, the strengths. The Cheesecake Factory has a very strong brand name that is not only known in those countries it is established in, but in those of others as well. Their diverse menu and variety of bakery products offered attract many customers. With their high standard of food and their smart yet casual decor, they not only invite customers from the home countries but also tourists. With a large number of customers that frequent the restaurant, they try to use more advanced technological methods to increase operating efficiency. With most companies, they cannot just rely on word of mouth. Cheesecake Factory try to entice their customers with visual advertisements. However, with every company, there are weaknesses. The food can be great tasting, but not so when you see the nutritional report and see the high calorie content of the food. As well as this, they lack some knowledge compared to other multinational companies in expansion into other countries. Thirdly, the opportunities. The one that we are most interested in is the opportunity for new restaurants. This has helped as they have a good competitive position already established in America. One area they are also trying to expand is the selection of cakes, so to appeal to a wider variety of people. Lastly, the threats. One would be the pricing of the product to reflect the brand name as well as compete with competitors. With competitive surrounding, as a new restaurant in the UK, it will limit the flexibility of the menu prices. With the economy as it is right now, they may find less people willing to eat out. These can all have an effect on the success of the Cheesecake Factory in the UK. Now I'll pass on to Kamel, who will be going through the pestle analysis.
Sorry. The US and the UK have a healthy political relationship which prevents any trade restrictions. This is seen by the number of American firms introducing themselves solely to the British market, such as Costco and Chipotle, and those who have introduced themselves to the global market, such as McDonald's and Nike. Furthermore, business between the US and the UK is facilitated by comparable labour laws enforced by the 2 governments. Therefore, the Cheesecake Factory would not struggle to adapt to the British working environment. In 2011, the Cheesecake Factory recorded a turnover of $1.5 billion. As a result, the restaurant is able to open more restaurants across the US, which opens up jobs. Currently, the Cheesecake Factory employs 34,000 staff across the 52 states. On average, Cheesecake Factory restaurants in the US record an annual turnover of $10.6 million each. The business strives on increasing the number of restaurants, which would help tackle the high unemployment rate and benefit the UK government. There's been a recent fluctuation in the exchange rate, which has seen the rate plummet to as low as £1 to £1.49 in March. This can be capitalized on by the Cheesecake Factory, as the strength of the dollar would enable the firm to invest higher capital into their UK restaurant. Interest rates in the UK are comparatively low in contrast to the US, which would encourage the firm to invest in the UK, as high startup costs are set to be incurred. Therefore, expanding to the UK would prove to be cost efficient. The Cheesecake Factory creates a very social atmosphere in its restaurants. It's not only famous for its desserts, which attracts its customers, but it can use other methods as well to appeal from ages from 1 to 100. The Cheesecake Factory would bring its philosophy to its UK restaurant. However, certain changes would have to be made to satisfy the UK customer, such as reducing the calorie count. Moreover, changes were adopted in the firm's only existing international branch in Dubai to give consumers a menu that corresponds with their culture and the same would be required in the UK, such as the inclusion of British meals. I'll now pass on to Pierre, who will be analysing the remaining factors of the pesto.
Thank you very much, Kemal. The Cheesecake Factory are teamed with IBM to track the quality of its ingredients from the time they are delivered to the time they arrive to the restaurant in order to maintain safety standard of the food. Cheesecake Factory has got nice technology advanced business when the customer are ordering food. So now I will show you one example of how this method is working. If, for example, if you order food is too long, the company will take your order and give you a buzz. And suddenly the buzz is going to ring when food is ready. So during this time you can have a work even out of the restaurant. Regarding legal, health certificate and postal license are required for imports from outside of the US. All Cheesecake Factory food are made in US and delivered in Dubai. So the same method will be used in the UK. For legal as well, the cumulative impact zone depends when Cheesecake Factory will be placed in the UK, because after February 2010, due to serious problem regarding alcohol, it's the government that will choose that if in that zone the restaurant can sell alcoholic beverage. About this, the Cheesecake Factory will be a huge problem because they are making a lot of money regarding the consumption of alcohol. The last point they will analyze is about the environmental. And the Cheesecake Factory have got green team, they are recycling packaging in order to show Cheesecake Factory is environmental friendly. And Cheesecake Factory are all built with a similar design, and the design of its restaurant has been identified as very good and recognizable. They look like houses which are family touched experience. Now we'll pass to Nafiu that is going to speak about the entry strategy of the company.
Thank you. Hello everyone. The continuation of our presentation is market entry strategy, which includes 5 methods: cultural diversity, product price, direct export and import, channels, and UK government policy. Apart from cultural diversity, Cheesecake Factory will mix our employees between different ethnic backgrounds in order to satisfy different clients, different customers. However, we will participate in British Cultural Festival and New Year celebration in order to advertise our company psychologically. Our product price will be based on our competitors' price product, which is not higher than competitors, but minimum price. And we will advertise our product with some specific channels, and we will respect the British government rules and regulations, because usually it used to affect international firms. Now, I would like to invite my colleague Giselle to continue.
Thank you. There are 2 categories in which new entries fall upon. Either it is an established chain expanding into the UK market, or it is a new brand that is starting up in the UK. The Cheesecake Factory falls into the first category. There have been many businesses or restaurants that have entered the UK market, some of which have successfully captured the customers. An example of this is Krispy Kreme, a donut company from America that first opened on October 2003 in the UK. They currently have 50 stores across the United Kingdom. Another example of this is Nando's, a South African restaurant. It currently has 290 restaurants across the UK. What Krispy Kreme and Nando's have in common are their unique selling points. They have a unique branding that separates them from the rest. Krispy Kreme specializes in donuts, and Nando's specializes in Portuguese-style cooking of chicken. This suggests that the Cheesecake Factory, with its already established brand name and unique products, will have a successful entry into the UK market. Although the UK market is a fertile market for the expansion of foreign chains, some businesses are just not as successful in entering it. Dunkin' Donuts, for example, entered the UK market in the 90s and had to pull out of Britain because it failed to get advertised in the UK. However, they have recently signed agreements with 2 franchise groups and plan to re-enter the UK market once more. I will now pass it to Priya, who will be talking about the conclusion.
To conclude, the Cheesecake Factory will have a successful entry into the UK market. From the evidence we have gathered using the pestle and SWOT analysis, the UK market will have a positive reaction to our business because of the strengths that the Cheesecake Factory already has.
One of the strengths is that the USA and the UK have a healthy relationship. The Cheesecake Factory has had a positive effect on the US economy and thus could boost the UK economy as well. And Cheesecake Factory has a unique selling point wherein it is a restaurant that specializes on desserts, specifically cheesecake. Lastly, we already have a strong brand name, which will help our marketer to be a successful one. Thank you. Are there any questions?
What are the main competitors of this company?
Could you repeat the question?
Who are the main competitors of the Cheesecake Company?
In the US or in the UK?
Any host and home, both.
In the US, it would be places like Olive Garden. There's restaurants like Brio. There's quite a lot of big chains that are trying to compete against them.
UK also think could be a good competitor. Bella Italia, there's a big chain restaurant here in UK with I think more than 118 restaurants.
They provide affordable food and family atmosphere, and that's the kind of restaurant that they strive on being.
Okay, I've got one or two. How many of you? Who do they aim at? What do they see as their customer base? 18 to 25-year-olds, older people. I'm thinking of cheesecakes, and I think, who do I associate cheesecake eating with? I don't know the company, but tell me who they see as their demographic.
Well, they say that they don't particularly aim towards one certain age group, and you can see that they have certain promotions that attract kids, certain promotions that attract families, so their food really doesn't have a certain area that they focus on. They focus on all age groups, so they don't have one particular area that stands out more than the others.
So people such as you could be customers.
Everyone could be customers.
And do you eat cheesecake?
Yeah.
Every year.
Have you eaten it in the last month?
Yes,
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
yes.
In fact,
Okay,
I've
all right.
actually been to America to the Cheesecake Factory. And when I was in there, they had many families with even babies, and there was quite a few. And they would have kids menus, and they'd have small appetites, and they'd have smaller servings, and they'd make them inviting to little kids, so they'll have toys, or they'll present it so that it's quite appealing to them. So they'll eat it, and they can happily just kind of continue eating, while the parents can then have their ones that are more sophisticated, or just casual, and everyone's happy.
And what's their ownership model? Is it a kind of franchise model, like lots of McDonald's restaurants are effectively franchises, or would the Cheesecake Company find the potential outlets themselves and own them and run them, or are they all franchises which...
They would find them themselves. None of the restaurants, they currently have 168 restaurants in the US, and none of them are franchised.
So there isn't a franchise model
Yeah,
that you can tell.
yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And I want to give you a proposition now, and you can agree with me or disagree with it. I think this company's missed the boat. People are much more interested in healthy eating, and cheesecake, it's full of calories, it's junk food, it's just calorific rubbish, and that was good 30 years ago, and American people may still like that sort of thing, but I think in Britain we're going towards more healthy eating. Discuss.
The problem with the Cheesecake Factory is that the name misjudges the restaurant itself. It's not just the cheesecake. Obviously the cheesecake stands out, but their food as well and their menu is very good as well. It's rated one of the best restaurants in the US. It's not just a Cheesecake Factory, which when you hear the name, that's what you think it is in the first place.
Yeah, they have a lot of fresh products, and when you actually go there and have the meal, you don't think of the calorie content. You only notice it if you actually go looking for the nutritional report. Because when we went there, when we were eating them, we'd never have, other than the cheesecake, the actual food, you'd never have thought that it had such a high calorie content. And in fact, by doing this presentation,
I'm not sure if that worries me or reassures me.
the thing is, the taste is so much that even if it does have high calorie content, you may not have it as frequently as you'd expect, but you feel like you need to go there, you need to eat the food. I personally, while I was there, ended up 12 times there.
And you're still here to tell the tale.
I think it's going to be successful in UK because I know that people now want to eat healthy, but it's possible to see that Burger King and McDonald's are still every time of food. So even Cheesecake Factory is going to be very successful in UK. Even if people want to eat food, but there are many people that will still eat in McDonald's.
I'm not convinced that the people in Britain want healthy food. Actually, I think
Yeah.
the kind of cakey diet will go pretty well. So I think we're onto a winner.
They have started.
I'm just floating a boat out there to see.
They're looking into a lighter menu, as they put
Right,
it.
okay.
And they're trying to introduce it into their menu, so there's less calories, but just as great tasting, in case there are some calorie-conscious people that enter their restaurant. But they are looking into that as well.
Well, I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Well done.